I just start by finding the center and then use a file and then just groove it. That'll start to give you room. Using grooving, it's kind of important because you're going to use this monster next. It gets in the crack and then we're going to saw back and forth till we get about a 1/2 inch down. If you have any problems, you can go ahead and just pull the saw one direction. Stabilize it with your other hand. But I can't do that, I'm holding the camera. If you start to get any fraying, you can just take a little file and just file them down so you don't get any cracks. So, hang on, I'll show you some more in a second. 3 files I use. One is round for the base of the knock to round it out. This one's to start the groove, and this one is to work on the inside of the groove to get it the right width. All 3 of these files plus 3 other were found in a file kit at Walmart for under $6. You have a groove. It's not the most awesome groove. It obviously has to be widened, and then I like to put a little bit of a round finish on the end. This little file, as small as it is, still isn't going to go in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to widen it a little, and you can also use a pocket knife if you're careful, a little sharp pocket knife, by shaving down and then knocking the pieces out, tapping them out, shave down and knock them out. So what I just did here was to illustrate, I took the knife and I cut it down like that, and then what you get is that little piece right there that can just be knocked out. It's not like committed to being in there. So, but you don't want to like wedge this way. You wedge this way, you're going to break this side. Okay, so after you get your pieces literally chunked out of there, you can clean it up with your file. You don't want any chips or chunks in there, obviously. And then when you can get your round file in it, you'll want to file a little round groove right under there. Okay, I guess I wanted to say this as well. I use a hand braided string, double Flemish. Obviously you want to make sure that your knock is big enough to hold your string and not stick too badly in there. So, and obviously there's going to be tension on this when it's being fired, so it's going to be a little thinner. But what I wanted to show you too is be careful. This round file is a little sharp on the end, and it is prone to jump track. You'll get a few nicks and whatnot, so be careful. The saw will get you too if you try to stabilize the piece. But anyways, they're just nicks. Don't worry too much about that unless the sight of blood makes you faint, in which case you probably shouldn't be making arrows to shoot things with. So keep working it. Get it nice, get it smooth, because we're going to stain these after we get the knocks reinforced with sinew. I don't know that there's a right way or a wrong way. You're supposed to put the sinew on after, but I go ahead and I wrap the sinew to the raw wood. It just makes sense to me that it'll adhere better to raw wood, and I'll show you that here in just a second when I get this cleaned up. Okay, here's something else I wanted to show you. Traditionally, I guess men like to use sandpaper, whatever. I found that in my foibles and adventures, a fat emery board. Obviously this one's chewed to hell. I need to get another one. Should be using it on my nails instead. Works awesome because it fits right down inside this groove, and you can finish the inside beautifully. It also allows you to round with a finer sand, because these are designed not to split your nails, so obviously it's going to be a little more delicate on the wood, but it does fit right down inside the groove. A couple of drags and back and forth, and you get the super finish inside there. Just thought I'd share that little secret with you. Okay, so that's what mine look like when they're done. A little bit of round on the bottom, and then I kind of round the edges slightly to stop splits. And now I'm ready to put some sinew on it, just to reinforce it, because it starts to crack this way, the sinew will help it hold together. Okay, so that's what mine look like when they're done. A little bit of round on the bottom, and then I kind of round the edges slightly to stop splits. And now I'm ready to put some sinew on it, just to reinforce it, because it starts to crack this way, the sinew will help it hold together. Okay, I just bought some sinew off eBay. I used the elk, don't care, leg, back, it doesn't matter. It gets a little trickier when I'm wrapping the arrows. I found that the leg is easier, but anyways, I'll fish a piece of this out and lay it flat and show you about what thickness you need. It's been soaking, it doesn't take but a minute to reconstitute. Okay, so what I have here is just a piece of an old bow that broke. Piece of madrone wood that I kind of turned into a tool, a souvenir end. It's helpful because when I take the sinew, I don't always want to use the thickest, fattest piece I've got. So this helps me separate it without cutting it, because the metal does that, and my fingers obviously are more like clubs, not like tweezers. So get yourself a little tool and separate the sinew. I got called away, so it kind of dried. See, it gets stiff. You really can't use it like that. It's not a big deal. Just put some more water on it and just give it a second, and then just go ahead and finish teasing it apart until you get it all the way down. I don't like using my fingers, like I said, but this madrone stick works really good. Just whittle out a sharper end and a blunter end, and then a round end for pushing on things, a flattened end. I don't know, just a little something I made. So. Okay, I got 2 or 3 pieces down there. That's like overkill for wrapping the Nock. This one's not quite enough. And then this one is a little thick. So honestly, they're all a little big. I'm just going to go ahead and pick one of them. And then I'm going to start wrapping it. And I'll show you here in a minute. Okay, so I'm just wrapping it. And what I'm trying to do is get each layer laying nice and neat under the other. Because when the sinew dries, every wrap is going to show. So try to put it on there neat, because when it shrinks, you're going to be able to see it, the wraps. I mean, that's my opinion. I don't know. Anyway, I'll show you when I'm done. I wrapped it, and then I got this little tail sitting here. I'll just show you. It's not really rocket science. Just lay it down. I'm going to try to keep filming this, because I can do this with one hand, maybe. And you just get a little bit of glue. Let's see if I can show you this. I can do this with one hand. It's pretty silly. Okay, and it's just Elmer's wood glue. It dries pretty clear. Just put some of that on, and then spin it the same way you had it going. Just put it on. I'm kind of messy because obviously I'm not a one-handed person. And then just clean it up. And once that's reinforced, I'll show you what that looks like when it dries. I want to clean this up a little more. Okay, I kind of wanted to show you what one looks like after it dries. See, this one I didn't really wrap that knot too carefully. You just kind of spun it on there. You can see the gaps when it dried, and so just heads up on that. And then when I tied the feathers on later, though, I kind of really tried to watch it when I saw how the Nock dried. So I put a lot of wraps on it. You don't need to put this many on it. This is just me. I fear my own fletching won't stay on, so I overdo it. But anyways, I don't claim to be an expert. I just know that nobody really had explained any of this stuff correctly and visually for me to understand it. So I thought I'd put these videos together to show people kind of what you run into. Alright. Anyway, so that's your Nock. That's how you do your Nock. It's easy. And I'll put this together. Good luck, guys. I hope you have as much fun as I've had doing this.